Afternoon, everybody. I would like to welcome you to today's NACTA webinar. My name is Lorraine Romero. I am going to be your moderator for today. If you have any questions, like technology things, you're having issues, put them in the chat box and I will respond to them. Most of the time when people are having volume issues, it just means you need to turn up your speaker, unplug your speaker, plug it back in. Any more detail than that, put a question in the chat box and I'll see if I can help you resolve the issue. If you have questions for the speaker, because we are going to have a Q&A session at the end, please put them in the question box and I will make sure to read them to Randy. Today's guest is Randy Goodrich. He is the Business Development Manager for the Scenic Group. Been a long time supporter of NACTA. Have been at all conferences that we go to, and it's always wonderful to have him live and in person on the webinar. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping just real quick, and then I'm going to put myself on mute and then turn over the reins. This is being recorded, so if by chance something happens and you're not able to finish listening to the webinar, you can check out this webinar on our NACTA YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed to the NACTA YouTube channel, I encourage you to do so, so that way you can get all of our webinars, including webinars from Marketing Manager Lisa Watson. She puts tips and tricks how to adjust your passcode if you need to make changes on your NACTA profile, need to get some information about how to do your NACTA one sheet. The YouTube channel for NACTA is the place to go. I will also include, when I post this, an email message that has information regarding Scenic, as well the webinar and how to sign up for that. So for now, everybody is on mute. That way it prevents from any background sound. I will also be on mute until Randy says, "Hey, Lorraine," and then I'll come back and we will begin the Q&A session. So as he's presenting, please make sure to go to the question box, put questions in, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end. Randy, here you go. Thank you as always for being here, and we're looking forward to hearing more information about Scenic Group.
Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you, agents, for taking the time to learn about our wonderful products, and hopefully we will help you sell those and market them. We're going to go through just some basics for those of you who are not familiar with Scenic and our different products. Then I'm going to delve more into the tools that we have available to make it easy for you to find availability, create a quote or book online, and manage that booking online. It's very simple, very time saver for you guys, so I hope that works. So first of all, we can talk about the Scenic Group. That's our new branding. We have a number of different products. It seems we're growing pretty rapidly, and I'll tell you what those are in a minute, and we'll go through them. But it's a fantastic array of products. Scenic is actually over 30 years old, which would be surprising to some of you who haven't heard a lot about us. We started in Australia in 1986. Glenn Maroney, pictured here, was the gentleman who started doing some local tours in Australia right after he got out of college. His dad owned some property, a hotel out in the outback, and so he started taking people out there, and one thing grew to another, and he developed a clientele that wanted to travel all over the world. So by the year 2000, he was doing luxury, all-inclusive tours everywhere, all continents in the world, and became one of the largest inbound operators to North America, bringing Australians, New Zealanders, people from the UK and other parts of Europe into North America, especially Alaska cruises and the things like Rocky Mountaineer and Canada and the canyons, the parks in the U.S. So he's a substantial operator, one of the larger luxury tour operators in the world, and in 2008 got into the river cruise business. He decided that it was time, after having chartered some competitors' river cruise ships, that he would build his own, but he wanted to do something that was unique and different. And he is a very innovative fellow. So he wanted to build a line that had ships that were focused on offering 5-star, more all-inclusive type services. And he did that successfully. He built a couple the first year and a couple more. And in 2012, they took a look at everything and decided that there were some things they could do in addition to what they had done from what they learned. And so they have a unique balcony situation. Every one of the cabins on the second, third deck on his ships have a nice balcony, but it's an all-weather balcony because it can actually be enclosed with the push of a button if the weather gets not so good, but you want to stay out there. So very innovative. We'll go through a little bit of that. In 2014, he started Emerald Waterways to be a competitive 4-star brand, which has been very successful. And this next year in 2018, we'll be introducing the Scenic Eclipse, our ocean ship. And in 2018, actually now, we just started bringing our tours. These tours where we started 30 years ago, we're going to bring those and have a product that's marketable in the U.S. market. So things are growing. So with Scenic, we have 15 ships. 13 of those are in Europe, and including one in Russia. And there's 2 of those, and 2 of our own ships in Southeast Asia, one on the Mekong and one on the Irrawaddy in Myanmar. So we cover most of the main rivers. The majority of our trips are in the Rhine-Main Danube, of course. The #1 seller is that 2-week trip between Amsterdam and Budapest. Number 2 is the Danube. But then we're also in France, in all 3 river areas of France, the Seine, the Rhone, and the Bordeaux area. And last year we started to build our own new ship for the Douro River in Portugal. And so we're the first to do that, actually. The other ships are leased by a local company, but we like to have our own unique feel and look and facilities on board our ships. So this is the picture one. Majority of our ships are 443 feet long, which is the long ship, and which is used primarily on the Rhine-Main Danube rivers. In our case, we have maximum 169 passengers. Our Emerald product, you'll see in just a minute, has 182 passengers, and some of the other competition as many as 200 passengers. So that all relates to the size of the cabins. Ours tend to be bigger, and the size of the lounge, you can see from this picture, the lounge area there in the top is huge because we have up to 6 different dining venues, and 2 of those will be in that lounge area. So beautiful ships, beautiful accommodations, truly all-inclusive. So all-inclusive, people ask me all the time, what do you mean by all-inclusive? What is a truly all-inclusive experience? A truly all-inclusive experience is when your customer pays the final bill, they go on the trip, they do all these things that are included, and when they're done, their balance is 0 when they check out. And quite frankly, I've seen many people checking out, and they're still shocked. They still don't believe that they did everything that they did. All the drinking, all the eating, all the touring, all the private events, all that stuff, and they don't know a penny when they check out. No tips, no gratuities, nothing. So you can see here from the list what's included. This is detailed on our website as well. A couple of things I'll pick out. The 6 dining venues I mentioned. Butler service for every cabin is included. Laundry concierge. Once a week we'll do their laundry for them. All those things are included. Wi-Fi, tips, gratuities, all that. But on shore is where Scenic really outshines the competition. We have Scenic and Rich. These are typically once a week. We'll have an unforgettable, once-in-a-lifetime experience, dinner in a castle, private concert, something like that. Once a week, we'll also have a Sundowners. This is a hosted cocktail or wine event in just some fantastic location. Pre-choice, that relates to our choices we have each day for what they want to do. So we have the shore excursion. The competition has typically 1 a day that they include. We'll have anywhere from 2 to 6. So one of the more difficult things that people have to do on our trip is choose which one they want to do. But they're all included in the price, so it's not about what it costs. It's about what do you truly want to do that day. So they're very popular. For additional touring and whatnot on their own, we have our tailor-made system. There's a GPS device. Each person has one, and they can go out and do their own self-guided touring. There's some kind of guided tours that they will follow along if they want, or they can just walk about or take the GPS on the bike and just take off, which normally they'd be reticent to do because they might get lost, might not be able to find a ship. but the GPS system keeps with them, shows them where the ship is, even tells them some things that they might want to stop and take a look at along the way. It also works on the ship itself, so that people always are aware of where we are on the river, what might be coming up to take a look at. Transfers, of course, included. River Cruise Guarantee is once the first of its kind insurance policy that we include in the price, but this is for incidents such as high water, low water, damage to bridges, locks, even the ship. If that disrupts the cruise itself, so that your customer does not get the full benefit of what they paid for, we're going to give them a refund. So Emerald Waterways, very similar to the ship style and everything, just not doesn't have the butler service for all cabins, only in the bigger suites. And the balconies are, a lot of them are indoor balconies instead of outdoor balconies. The big suites have the outdoor balcony, similar to Scenic. The indoor balcony is kind of the same. So you can see the windows there. You're used to seeing a balcony that has a railing, but we took the railings out and we put these glass panels in, but the upper part of the glass panel raises and lowers, similar to a window in your house. So with the push of a button, that will go up or down. So makes it very nice. If it's nice out, you can have that open. If it's not so nice, you close it. One unique feature on Emerald, and probably the reason the first year out in 2014 it got the Best Ship Design Award, is that structure in the back. That is the swimming pool and also the theater and pub area. So it's quite magical. In that white spot on the top is the retractable roof. So during the day, everything's open when it's nice, and people can be swimming or just relaxing back. And it's a beautiful room, very meditation type room. I fall asleep typically within a few minutes when I'm on board. But in the afternoon, they push a button and the bottom of the pool slowly rises to the top and the water seeps down underneath. And now we've got, we close everything up and we'll run movies 3-4 times a week perhaps. And also we'll have pub nights or crew nights, or if you have a group, you can have a group night in there. Very, very, the only one I've ever seen like that. So all our ships have that except our new ship on the Douro. It's too small. The pool's up on the upper deck then. Emerald is really the best value. It got the best value award from Cruise Critic the last 2 years. So we call it the exceptional value. It's pretty all-inclusive, not totally, doesn't have some of the special things that Scenic does, but also is priced to compete with some of the mainstream 4-star brands out there that you're familiar with. We do include the transfers and tips and gratuities. Those are probably two of the most obvious areas of extra value that people get, that and the fact that we have extra shore excursions. So we call that Emerald Plus on the shore excursion. So typically 1 or 2 a week. So these are short excursions that in addition to the one we have each day, but normally on other lines your customer would have to pay for these extra shore excursions. In our case, we're going to include those. We also have more active. We started with a few last year. 2018, we have a lot of sailings. Most sailings will have at least 1, if not 4 or 5 active excursion options. We're finding that the clientele on Emerald is getting to be a little bit younger, where Scenic might be 60 plus, Emerald is starting to be 50 plus. And the swimming pool helps that. Just the look and feel of the ship being a lot more open, a lot of glass, a lot of mirrors, chrome, things like that. It's just a younger feel. And then we've added the active activities that people enjoy. Those are mostly going to be your hiking trips, your biking trips, yoga classes, things like that. And we'll continue to add more and more all the time. They have the River Cruise Guarantee. They also have some optional excursions, and those will sometimes be included in the price and sometimes not. They're not very expensive. They're very well priced, but there's typically a few of those every week too. This is a chart that's produced by rivercruiseadvisor.com, so you can go online and you can take a look at this anytime you want. It's also on our website and agent portal. I'll show you that in a few minutes. But you'll see in the middle here, here's Scenic, with all the check marks all the way across. So there's just some things that we have that nobody else has. The other competitors to Scenic, of course, Crystal's new with their new ships. Excuse me. And then what's really important is Emerald. You can see all these check marks, 8 of them, I believe, and they compete with these other 4-star lines. So the pricing on Emerald is going to be similar, but your customer is going to get more. So I really encourage you, for any product that you're selling, that you always understand what's included. So when you don't just throw a price at your customer, but tell them for this price, you pay a little more for this product, but this is what you get in addition. That may not be important to them, then you can bounce back. But you always should let them know what the options are out there. So this chart helps quite a bit. The Eclipse, this is our venture into ocean cruising, but really yachting. We call it the world's first discovery yacht because it's kind of in the similar area of expedition yachts, except we're actually focused more on luxury and comfort for your upscale clients. It does include 2 helicopters and a submarine and a lot of toys like the little boats and the jet skis and all that stuff, depending where we are. It's going to sail August 31st, 2018 in the Med for a couple sailings, and then come over to the U.S., do Cuba for 3 sailings, and then head down to South America through the canal and into Antarctica and spend the winter, our winter, but their summer in Antarctica in 1819. It is a state-of-the-art ship with the latest equipment for both ice and comfort and safety and environmental protection. So it's pretty much a zero-impact environment. It's got its own wastewater treatment plant. We don't use anchors. We have electric engines tied to the GPS so the ship will stay stable. In fact, we have extra-large stabilizers so that they won't rock and roll quite so much. So it's really quite something. And then just a few weeks back, we introduced the fact that we're bringing the Tour product into the U.S. market. We're starting with product for Africa, Egypt, and Jordan. I've done a thorough look at what those include, and they're spectacular. So similar to our Scenic products, it's not just that we're all inclusive, but we throw something else into the equation for every tour. So look for that special extra feature. Your clients will love it. So, and there's some great promotions going right now with fly free or discounted air. So, and we are taking requests now for 2019, so you can pre-register. So just so you know, we are a global company. We do have people, a lot of clients in Australia and New Zealand who take long trips on their vacations, a month plus every year. They plan years ahead of time for their vacation, and there's a certain number of those right now just waiting for our product for 2019 become available to book, and they would jump on. The first week or two, you'll see all the really best cabins and popular dates go quite quickly. So if your customer is wanting something in particular, let's say the Danube, which quite often sells out quickly, or the Maduro is selling very quickly, you want to get a pre-registration. You just simply call us. It's $250 refundable deposit. Let us know the itinerary your customer wants, the approximate date they want to go, and what kind of cabin they want. We will then call you when that becomes available and give you your customer, or have one of the first opportunities to book that. At that point, they would pay the full deposit, so another $250. Then they have the $500 non-refundable deposit per person. They've got the cabin, it's theirs, and they can sit back and relax. If they don't want it, then they get their money back on the original $250. Okay, now we're going to focus on agent tools. Most of those are going to be found in our agent portal. This is found if you go to our website, scenicusa.com. Now, if you're visiting us from Canada, it's scenic.ca, and most of the programs are the same. The pricing, the promotions, things like that are going to be different in Canada. But if you go to either scenicusa.com or emeraldwaterways.com and click on Agent Portal, that's how you get into the area. And it's going to look similar to this. So you have Express Book. We'll spend some time in here. That's our quote and booking engine. We have the specialist programs for both Emerald and Scenic. And you want to take those before you make your next booking, because you'll get a bonus commission the first booking you make within 6 months after that. It could be a couple $100, so you want to try to do that. If your agency is not registered with us, then you can register online by clicking there. If it is registered, or your host agency is registered, then you really need to set yourself up as an individual agent underneath them, so you get the proper commission, whatever else we send your way. And we can keep track of you, so we know you're booking. But that's pretty easy. I'll show you how that happens. Brochures you can order here. Sales support would be our BDMs around the U.S. Information on group travel. There's that comparison chart online. Tours, videos, insurance coverage, reviews from fellow travel agents, things like that. So quite a bit of information on this site. First of all, if your agency wants to register, it's a pretty simple process. Just do that. If you're already registered, then you can get that username and password, or maybe your host will register you. Ask them to do that. They simply go and they'll have over here, once you log in, if there's multiple users, it's going to say which agent, and down here you say set up a new account. So you want that set up. Once you do that, you'll have a username and password. Next time, come in, just put that in, and it will save that. Typically, you can get it to save, so you don't have to enter it each time. You just simply come in, click on Expressbook, it opens it up, and you're looking at Expressbook. This is the Scenic Specialist program, so it's pretty simple. Just go through and take this. Again, you get the bonus commission once you pass it. This is how you order brochures. Pretty simple. And the big thing with the website is this is where all of our product information is. Excuse me just a second. I'm going to take a little drink of water here. So we've got river cruises. We've got our ocean cruise. Now there's an escorted tours tab that was put on last week, so you've got information about that. Brochures you don't want to order here. This is consumer side. Go to the agent portal, order them there. You can order more. Videos. We have lots of videos. So videos are on our special features, or what we include. Our GPS unit has a special one. It's also on different destinations and different itineraries. So lots of information. I'll show you how you just right mouse click on a video, and you can send that, copy and paste it into an email and send it to your client. Information about our ships, why Scenic, does it have more to do with what we offer, things like that. So when you click on that, you've got our Scenic Enrich, what that's all about, the free choice daily short excursions, how the butler service works, the GPS, the Sundowners, service to the nth degree, the river cruise guarantee. All that's explained right here if you have any questions. So this is one of the videos here. This will be on the Scenic Diamond. This is a ship in the Bordeaux area, which we remodeled last year, and has really cool features, including a salt room, a very large royal owner's suite, beautiful pool on the top, and the culinary French cooking class area too. So you can watch that video yourself, but you can also do a right mouse click. So down here, I've clicked on the right mouse click. And most of this is unrelated to is PC oriented. Apple products will work a little bit differently, but you should be able to do the same thing. So you can see what popped up here. I can copy the URL to this video. I can loop it so I can be running it constantly in the window of my agency or at a show or whatever. But you just right mouse click, copy video, and then you copy and paste that and put it into an email. Okay, so let's spend most of the rest of our time in Expressbook. This is where, once you start booking our products, this is where you're going to spend a lot of time, because you can book, you can quote, and you can manage both individual bookings and group bookings. So it's very simple. So once you get your username and password, you come in, you click on bookings there. You double check your user information, but it's going to come up with the the screen here, this is the most recent activity. So if I had a quote, it would be right here too. If I want to look at all my bookings, I just click on that. Very simple. Once I click on, go back here. So the other area typically you're going to click on is this check availability, quote or book. Once you do that, if you happen to have a group, it's going to highlight the group here. And so you can go right into that inventory. You can go directly to the inventory and add another client. Or most of the time, probably you're going to book an individual. So you book they call it the public tour. You click on that. And then you've got this screen where you fill in. You don't have to fill it all in though. So very important, you don't have to fill this in. What you have to know is the tour code. So the tour code is located in the pricing area. I'll show you that in just a sec, where some of them are. But that, the date they want to travel, is there a single or double room? That's really all you have to know. No, so in, for instance, in our Scenic Eclipse brochure, here's all the itineraries. Each one has a different code number. In the Scenic and Emerald River Cruise brochures, that number will be in the pricing box. So wherever there's pricing listed, up in the corner there someplace would be the tour code. So if they're going, they want to do Prague and Nuremberg and Budapest, it's PND, not too difficult. If they want to do multiples, you put a comma in. So in this case, I've got PND, which is Prague, Nuremberg, Budapest, NBU, which is Nuremberg, Budapest. STC is our Budapest to Amsterdam trip. You can do all three of those if you want to pull up all those sailings. Then the only other thing you need to do is put the date range in. This is going to default to 3 months. So in this case, it's August to October of 2018. And then I clicked 1 or 2 guests. If it's 2, it's going to have this where you select a double or twin bedding. Then it's going to pull up every sailing that has availability. So you can see I did this about a month ago, and already we only had 3 sailings left with space for the Gens of the Danube. That's our 1-week Danube trip. This is Prague. So 11 days. You can hover your mouse. I don't know if you know that, but in a lot of places you can hover your mouse and it will come up with additional information. In this case, it will tell you what the return date is. So if the client wants to know exactly what the date is they leave on the ship and what date they return, that's easy. Over here you hover and this will tell you what these different offers are. This is air credit, early booking discounts, things like that. The other thing that's real important is this plus sign. So that's the only kind of trick part that the first time I used it, I kind of fumbled over that and then realized, oh, I'll click the plus and I'm going to see a lot more information. So this is what happens when you click the plus sign. You get to see all the cabin categories that are available. Now you can click each one of these, so I can go down and click the second one and the third one, so I can see every cabin that type that's available on each one of those 3 sailings. And if my customer is looking for something in particular, like a junior balcony suite, I know that this sailing has one available. So then I just click on the here to put a black mark in that I've selected it and go to next. It's then going to give me some information about that sailing. And then at the bottom here, very important, it's going to default to book this tour. But if your client's not ready for you to book it yet, because you can book and then have 2 days to pay, if you just want to do a quote to get them some information and try to hook them into wanting to buy this, you click the quote button. And then if you click the quote, you'll see that we're going to be able to select the cabin, but it's not going to take it out of inventory. But you also don't have to fill in all the paperwork. So here, if you're booking, you're going to have to fill in last name, first name, all that information, date of birth. This is where you fill in any special requirements, dietary, medical, mobility, things like that for either passenger. We'd want to know that. This is where you select whatever today the promotions are. So this sometimes I have to go in here just to make sure on each itinerary, because itinerary by date, we change the promotions a little bit. If that particular sailing is filling up, some of the promotions will go away. So you can see there's a lot of different air promotions here, depending where they're located in the U.S. But for the simplicity, I selected air credit. We had a deposit pay early that had to be done by October 31st. So I did this before that. I selected that. And then I can go in, I'm looking actually at the live inventory. The cabins that have a number on them are available. So I can go in and select the cabin that I think my client would like. So I'm going to select 320 here and see what happens. There's my clients. Okay, cute. So I've selected that. Now I can select whether they want pre or post hotel. So I selected hotel in Budapest, also the one in Prague. I can pre-select any city tours. There's no cost to these, but it's just we only let you do the pre-selection of some of the excursions, typically on the first couple of days, or some excursions where we need to know ahead of time, get just a read of how many people want to do what. Not that they're locked into that and can't get out of it once they get on the ship. It just gives us a better feel for how many people want to do certain tours. And then does I want Scenic or Emerald to do the air? And if I say yes, then down here in these open text areas, you can put in depart from Denver. They want business class upgrade, whatever. This is just communication that's going to go to our air department. So when they start to work on the air, they have an idea what your customer wants. Then you create this quote at the end. So the quote this is similar if you were booking, except this is only a quote. So we're not taking it out of inventory, but we've got the beginning price here, the port charge. Here's the charge for the hotel in Budapest. Here's the upgrade for the balcony suite, the PP category that we selected. They get the hotel in Prague. There's a $500 per person discount, and that other discount for the pay early. So you've got the total. If they want this, then they need to pay the deposit of about $500 per person. That's non-refundable. And then the final is due. In this case, it says October 31st because of that program, but it's typically 90 days prior to departure. And then any other information that would be pertinent for this particular itinerary. You have that sent to yourself. This is what the email will look like when it comes in. It's got a click to the actual invoice so your client can see what the cost is, and it's got a click to the full detailed day-by-day itinerary. But in fact, what typically you would do is get this, forward it to your customer. So I would say, here's a quote for the wonderful all-inclusive da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. And so you can add your own verbiage and send that out to your customer. And then if your customer comes back and books or says, let's book it, you go back into Express Book, and there the quote is. You just click on it, say convert to booking. Pretty simple. Once you book it, then you get a confirmation like this. This is the actual invoice. And down here is what we call Trip Personalizer. You'd be more familiar with guest information form. This is where the passport information, things like that go. Terms and conditions need to be approved. If there's excursions, there would be a button for excursions so they can select those. Arrival and departure airline information. If we're doing it, we'll put that in. If they are doing it, then we will ask you to complete so we know when they're going to arrive and depart so we can set up the transfers. There also now is another link down here to make a payment. So all of our payments are now being done online. So you can either do those by clicking here or going into Express Book and they make a payment. Pretty simple process. So here's the quote that I created. So again, I can just click on this quote and convert it to a booking. So here's the confirmation. The confirmation number would show up on the top with the client's name, but here's all the information. They paid the deposit. Now, here's what's due by March 10th. Here's the airline information that's been booked. There's an agent copy that will show you commission. This is where you can go into an existing booking. You can make a credit card payment online very, very easily. You can change the cabin selection, which would alter the invoice, of course. You can even change the documentation delivery address. And that's important because if you don't know our product, then if you haven't booked it, you haven't seen our documents. They're rather hefty. So we give every client backpack. So you have a couple, each one will get a backpack. So there's 2 backpacks come in this big bag, along with a leather case with documents. It all comes in, and If your customer is out of town or someplace where it's just not convenient for you to give them the documents, and you don't want to spend the money to mail it to them, you can just put in a personal address there. There's nothing in the documentation that is agent specific. I just encourage you to make a note that they'll probably get them on such and such date, and follow up with them and walk them through the information. Mainly information is the detailed itinerary, as well as information about the ship, the phone numbers associated with getting hold of the ship, things like that, emergency issues. There's a health form. If they have any health issues, they can turn that in when they check in. So very simple process. Here's the payment. Couldn't be any simpler. And just pay online. Spectacular. It's very secure. We went through 4 years of making sure this was a secure system. And then when you come back, the trip personalizer, anytime you want to go back in and add information or change it, it's very simple to do. Anything that you do on the booking itself is documented. There's a tag called notes. I think I can show you that right here. See the view notes. So that's what happens. You have the notes. So everything you've done is there. You have to go back and double check. Very nice. Okay, so that's the tools. Now, what are the deals? So right now we have what we call luxury on sale. This goes until November 17th. It's fly free economy class air on balcony suites or an air credit on many of our itineraries. Some are sold out already, but we encourage you, if you have people that want this 5-star truly all-inclusive experience, then you want to talk to them about Scenic. We do have a 3-day sale that's going to be over the 9th. That's tomorrow. So that's on the Rhine River Cruise. There's some additional bonus programs. You have somebody want to jump in on that, let us know. That has to be paid when you actually make the booking. And we just announced last week our relationship with National Geographic. So you may be getting some calls from people that are real National Geographic clients, you know, that like that kind of a itinerary with a little more in-depth knowledge on destinations, archaeological, historical, whatever. So we have these, I think it's 10 sailings next year. And nice selection of the rivers, different rivers. And we are promoting those now. National Geographic is promoting them as well. So it could be a nice, easy sale for you. We will have a brochure on that. It's not out yet, and National Geographic will start including river cruise as one of their choices for their customers. On the Eclipse, we have a lot of sailings are sold out. It's probably over 80% sold out for 2018-19, but there are some openings around South Africa. Before and after we go into Antarctica, there's some special sailings with some discounts. We also have free economy air to Europe for our inaugural transatlantic sailing, which is in September next year, for $1,000 savings, and Cuba in depth. So we had a sailing October 5th, which was not in our brochure because that sailing was chartered by a U.S. company for 200 U.S. passengers. And they decided to cancel just because of concerns over Cuba and what was going on there. So that opened it up. So we do have some, and we're offering a 10% early bird discount, which could expire at any time. So if you have customers talking about wanting to go to Cuba, that's a 14-day in-depth visit to many, I think 8 or 9 different towns or cities around. You go totally around the island of Cuba. So very cool. Emerald Waterways is a great special. It's already the best documented to be the best value in river cruising. And right now we have a special until the end of November that we're including some air discounts plus a drink package. So on the longer cruises, the drink package is called the extended drink package. That is wine and beer, not just at lunch and dinner, but anytime they want wine and beer. And for the shorter cruises, it's $4.95 air, but they get the premium drink package, which basically is anything they want to drink. So spirits, whatever they want to drink, anytime they want to drink. So that's the best value. People that are really looking for value, then I encourage them to encourage you to let them know about this. That highlights Netherlands and Belgium. That's something new for us for next year. So we have the sailing that's in the springtime when the gardens are out. So that's a picture there of some tulips, and that's Kinderdijk, so where the windmills are to control the water. But these sailings are also throughout the summer too. So that's something kind of new. So finally, the tools that I use to put some of these slides together and what I would use if I was trying to market some of the items for Scenic and Emerald and Eclipse. It's pretty simple. One of the most important features is that right mouse click. Again, Apple products might be a little bit different. The other thing is you can, when you see a screenshot, a website, anything you have on your screen, you can do a control print screen. Now on a PC, that print screen button, it's PRTSC, is usually in the upper right hand corner. So hit the control button, hit the print screen. What that does is copy whatever is on your screen. And so it copies it. Now you can go over to a PowerPoint slide, a Word document. Don't encourage you, I don't recommend you put it into an email at this point, because you're going to want to crop it first. So once you have a page open you want to put it on, if you're just going to work it and then put it in an email, just put it into a Word document or something like that. Then you do the copy P, the paste, the copy V, I mean, Control V, and that copies it onto that page. And then it should pop up at the top, the toolbar, and it has format, and under format it has crop. So when you click crop, that is going to put these black bars around each corner of the picture that you took of that screenshot, and you simply point at one of the corners and bring it down and resize what actually is going to show. So you can take all the stuff you don't want to have in your image out and make it look very, very nice, and then save it. And at that point you can add it to an email or add it to a presentation, whatever you want to do. Very simple to do. It always includes you the first time you do it, but you'll get used to it. Also, another little trick is forwarding emails. So if you get an email from us, say on a great promotion that you want to do, then you simply click the forward button, and then you can send it to a client or a group of clients. But first, in the subject line, you'll have an FWD for forward. You probably want to just eliminate that. And then you can go down and delete things you don't. If you don't want our phone number on it, you want to try to add your phone number, you can do that. You can add your own notes onto the top. So tell your client why you're sending it to them, things like that. So little tricks to the trade. Pretty simple stuff, but very powerful for you to actually promote some of these programs. So with that, I'll take some questions. So these are our BDMs throughout the United States market. Again, if you're in Canada, go to scenic.ca and contact them to find out who your representative is and what their current deals are. Thank you very much. Have some questions.
Absolutely. And thank you, Randy. As always, you did a great job. Very clear, concise. You've done this once or twice before, right?
A couple times.
So good job, good job. Let me start asking some of the questions, and they're really good questions, so people are absolutely paying attention. One of the questions was for the Eclipse. You mentioned that it had electric engines. What type do the Scenic and the Emerald ships have?
Well, they have the same as most everybody else, I believe. They're diesel engines. So, but on the open ocean nowadays, there's the name of these engines. They're brand new. They only came out 2 years ago, I believe. They're called Oxypod, and they're very powerful but very quiet. You don't have the normal vibration, things like that. They can go in reverse quite easily. They can actually chop out of an ice wall if we get stuck in one. Not likely, because we're going to be there in the summer, but one never knows. And they're tied to the GPS system, so they would just keep the ship right in that particular location. So they're quite something.
Excellent.
I don't know if
Excellent.
they're ever put those, if they need to put those on the rivers. Obviously, you have to have a generation system as well so that you can keep the power up. So it might be restrictive from a size standpoint.
Got it. You had mentioned the new Africa trip. Is that land and some water, or land only?
Yeah, it's got a little. The Egypt one has a Nile River cruise that goes up the Nile. I believe it's 4 or 5 days, and then from there you go on. So there's land before, then there's the cruise, and there's land after. But I'd encourage you to go on. You can look at the detailed itinerary on the website. It's pretty cool.
Great. Oh, excellent. And the person asking is also wondering if there will be brochures for that, and do they get them from the travel agent area under brochures?
Yeah, they're in the process of putting the brochure together right now. I have not seen it. There is, I think, a virtual one online on the website. So you'd go to scenicusa.com, or I assume in Canada it's scenic.ca, and click on the escorted tours, and then there's down below, I believe, there's an area to look at the virtual brochure. You can also, I think, pre-order it too, so you'll get it as soon as it's out.
Okay, thank you. If you are registered for Emerald, do you also need to register for Scenic?
Not really. So as far as the booking engine goes, it is tied to both brands and also the Eclipse. Where you manage what you want to look at for availability and booking is with the tour code. So if I'm on the Scenic side of Express Book, but I put in a EWDOU, DOR for Duro, something like that, it's going to pull up the Emerald product. If I put in the code for the Eclipse, it's going to pull up the Eclipse product.
Got it.
And your bookings will all be listed on either way you go. If you go into either one, you'll see the Scenic bookings and the Emerald bookings.
Great, thank you so much. There was a question about single supplement cabins.
Good question. So on Scenic, typically we have one single cabin, which is a balcony on the second deck, which is priced to be a single, which is a great deal, but also is one of the first cabins that sells out. We always sell from the top down, so the big suites sell first, and the single sells right in there with those guys, and then we have the others. On Emerald, there's 2 single suites typically on board. Smaller ships don't have that, like on Doral. But they're down on the first deck. So there's no balconies, no nothing. It's just a big window at the top, but they're well priced, so it's a good value. As far as single supplements for what would normally be a double cabin, we have a certain allotment of cabins available for no single supplement or 50% supplement, typically early in the season and late in the season. So March, April, late October, November, and then the rest of the time of the year is double charge.
Got it. Same person also asked about accessibility cabins. You'd mentioned there are some on the ships. How many are there? And do you allow canine companions, which I understand is completely different than pets? These are actual trained canine companions for people who are visually impaired.
Okay,
and
so
that's
a good question. Yeah. So first of all, as far as getting around the ship, that's not a problem. We have elevators in all of our ships, so people can get around pretty easy. On Scenic, the first cabins, when you come to the second and third deck, either walking or up the elevator, those are the junior suites typically. They are a little bit bigger, 250 square feet, so that people can get a wheelchair, walker, even a scooter around pretty easily. The real issue for you to be aware of, to talk to your client about, is the issues of getting on and off the ship. They would not be able to use walkers and anything like that. So they really do have to be able to walk at least probably 50 yards or something. and it could be at times they have to go up steps. They certainly go up steps to get into the buses. And on the land, you've got cobblestones and uneven places and things like that. So they just you just have to make them fully aware there are going to be some restrictions on the ship, not so much, but getting on and off the ship and on shore, that's where the issues are. As far as the bringing a service dog on board, I really don't know the full answer to that. It's come up before. We are looking at that. It's a little bit different in Europe compared to the U.S., but I think that's being looked at, and I would have to get back to you on a current answer on that.
Okay, perfect. Did you say how many accessible cabins were on the ships?
So we typically have, as far as accessible, if you're meaning like the handicapped cabins with the roll-in shower and some of those, we typically have one of those available on board. So
perfect.
you just have to make the reservation or have to ask. It's not really noted anywhere.
Okay. On one of your PowerPoint slides, you showed the place where the chart is that you had shown that checks off, you know, the competitors in comparison to one another. Where will people find that if they go online?
That is in the agent portal. We have it. It's also at rivercruiseadvisor.com. See if I can find it here. Thought it was right. All right. So there it is on our website. There's a comparison chart. Click there or go to the website. If you're going to do a lot of river cruises, I do recommend that you go to rivercruiseadvisor.com, sign up for their newsletter. There's a couple guys, and they virtually spend all their time going on river cruises and reporting on different cruises. There's a wealth of information there, not just about Scenic and Emerald, although they do love us, but about all the brands. And special sailings. I know Ralph, one of the owners, just got off our Bordeaux trip not too long ago, had a great write-up, all the things he liked on it, especially about the new French cooking class and some of those things.
Got it. And you said that's rivercruises.com?
River Cruise Advisor.
Advisor.
There's rivercruiseadvisor.com down here at the bottom.
Okay, perfect.
Or right now, while you're looking at this online, you could do control print screen and take a copy of this right now. That's the way I showed you to.
That's true. One of the agents said that she had checked and dogs are not allowed on the ships the last time she checked. So that could have changed, but she says when.
Yeah, I'll just check and see if that's changed though, because it's become more and more of an issue.
This question came up regarding when you were talking about the documents. Most NACTA members have a host agent, so they would be listing the booking under their host agent IATA number. So the question came up, when documents is being shipped, would they be shipped to the host agent, or would you have a spot on there where it can be sent either to the agent directly or just to the clients?
So that's why it's important that you sign up underneath the host agency as an individual. Your login will be tied to you and should be tied to your address. But you just when you make a reservation, I would recheck that. But then it's very easy to change the address with just a click of a button.
Perfect.
Just be double sure.
Right. Excuse me. And then somebody had said the cool little backpack you mentioned, is that presented to the client with the documents, or is that given to them when they arrive on the ship?
No, it's with the documents. So you get a pretty hefty, I mean, it's not heavy, it's just bulky, you know, one of those FedEx or whatever plastic bags, and just because they're bulky. But I've had agents say, well, it costs like $8 to mail those to a client. So you know, that's maybe $8 you want to keep these. Not a lot of money when you make a ton of money selling these things, so that's good. But you may want to just get it directly to them and not hassle with it. Because there's nothing there that's agent-centric that's in the documentation. So.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I know that I have done that when I send things to clients. Yeah, you know what? If I know I'm going to be out of town or it's cutting it really close, here, just go to your house. So I've actually had clients happen with clients who are like, well, where are my documents? Well, I don't know. It said it was shipped to your house on this date. Please check. Oops. So that way it's not your fault. The last question I have is, you had mentioned you can address dietary restrictions. Now, do those get put all on the form when you're filling it out? I noticed there was a dietary restriction area, or can that be adjusted when the clients get on the ship?
Yeah, both. So some people will do it ahead of time. Some won't even think about it. You either do it when you make the reservation, if you're aware of that, and then it goes into the client's file. So our people on board the ship will be notified. But if your client gets on board the ship and forgot to do it or whatever, or something's come up in the meantime and they're gluten-free, they just need to let the probably talk to the cruise director or the hotel manager. Hotel manager may be better because he actually runs the restaurant area too. Let them know, and the chef will certainly make adjustments for them. It happens more often than I would have thought, so I'm quite used to it.
Exactly. Well, that was all the questions we had. I want to thank everybody for being on this webinar. Randy, did you have any last-minute gleanings that you'd like to share before we say goodbye?
Not sure about gleaming, but thank you very much for taking the time. I think, you know, especially in today's world with the internet and our clients are going out trying to figure everything out on their own, it's very important that you take the time like this to get more knowledge on each one of the products out in the marketplace so that you recommend the right product to them. So I wish you good luck with all that, and let us know if we can be of any assistance.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. As we were on the call, what was going through my head is I've got a couple of clients that I know, and then you need to qualify your clients for this level of customer support. And there's a couple that I'm like, I think they would like the Egypt trip. I'm going to have to follow up on that because, you know, I have a couple of higher end clients who right now I have on a trip for this year, but like you said, the 2019s are coming up. So I think I need to get on them. So thank you again, everybody, for taking the time out of your busy day. Thank you again, Randy. As always, it's wonderful to work with you, and thank you for having Scenic support NACTA and our agents. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.